Kanye West, the artist legally known as Ye, has been one of the most influential, provocative, endlessly discussed figures in music and popular culture for nearly 2 decades. His career has been marked by nearly constant reinvention, pioneering albums, headline-grabbing fashion collaborations, and a personality that blends artistic intensity with astounding self-confidence. Yet beyond the public persona and the creative genius lies a deeply human story of struggle, vulnerability, and the profound role that close personal relationships can play in a person's healing journey. For West, that journey has recently taken a dramatic and deeply personal turn. After years of extreme public behavior, ranging from controversial statements to erratic social media posts that drew widespread condemnation, West made a candid and unfiltered admission about the state of his mental health. In a widely shared open letter addressed to the people he hurt, to communities around the world, and to his own inner circle, West opened his heart and acknowledged that he had been battling bipolar disorder and cycling through intense manic and depressive episodes that had dramatically affected his behavior and sense of self. In his most vulnerable account yet, he described an extended period in which the illness overtook his life, leaving him disconnected from reality and struggling to recognize his own actions as both harmful and alien to who he truly is. Central to this story, and to the emotional heart of West's candid admission, is one figure whose presence played a decisive role at a moment when he himself felt lost: his wife, Bianca Censori. According to West's own words and multiple accounts of the situation, when his mental health deteriorated to the point of near collapse, it was Censori who recognized that something was profoundly wrong, who refused to ignore the warning signs, and who ultimately helped him take the crucial step toward getting the professional care he needed. The severity of his struggles. West has spoken openly about being diagnosed with bipolar disorder years prior, but he admitted that the full reality of how the condition could manifest in his life only became truly apparent during a particularly intense episode in early 2025. In his open letter, he described entering what he called a manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior, an extended period during which his mood soared to extreme highs and plummeted to deep lows, and during which he lost connection with the boundaries between reality and his own inner impulses. During this time, West's behavior grew increasingly destructive, both in his personal relationships and in the statements he made publicly. Close associates described periods in which he seemed to act with little sense of restraint or self-awareness, sometimes promoting symbols and viewpoints that shocked even longtime fans. These actions drew sharp criticism from communities around the world, alienated former collaborators, and left West increasingly isolated, even as he was at the center of persistent media attention. In his own account, West acknowledged that the manic phase drifted into a depressive state that brought him to what he himself described as rock bottom, a place where the symptoms of bipolar disorder felt overwhelming and unmanageable. During that period, he said, he experienced profound despair and a sense that he no longer recognized the person he saw in the mirror. His ability to cope, to function, and to make decisions about his own well-being was deeply impaired by the illness, a fact he now recounts with stark clarity and regret. Bianca Censori's crucial role. Amid this internal chaos, it was Censori who observed the downward spiral and responded with concern, commitment, and resolve. Though much of West's life has played out in the public eye, this moment, one of private struggle and emotional rawness, was experienced largely away from cameras, away from commentary, and away from the spotlight. Censori's role, as described by West and those close to him, was not that of a passive observer but that of an active advocate for his health and safety. As West's condition worsened, Censori reportedly encouraged him to seek professional help, a suggestion he said he resisted at first. Due to the nature of manic episodes, individuals often feel powerful, alert, and free of limitations, even when their behavior is spiraling in dangerous directions. West acknowledged this truth in his letter, stating that when one is manic, it can feel as if everything is clear and under control, even when that perception bears little resemblance to reality. But as the episode progressed and the euphoric high gave way to deep depressive lows, it became clear that the usual coping mechanisms were not enough. West found himself besieged by feelings of disconnection and fear, and in some moments admitted he felt he could barely continue. It was at this point, when he hit rock bottom, that Censori's intervention was pivotal. She encouraged him to move beyond denial and avoidance and finally to seek the type of professional treatment that could stabilize his condition and restore his sense of self. According to West's own recounting, this intervention included persuading him to enter a rehab facility in Switzerland, a place where he could focus on healing with medical supervision, psychological support, and a structured plan for care. While details of the treatment itself remain private, West described the shift as life-saving, marking the beginning of a journey that would eventually lead him back toward mental clarity and emotional equilibrium. Acknowledging the complexity of bipolar disorder. In his open statement, West made a point of emphasizing that bipolar disorder is a complex condition, one that can deceive both sufferers and observers. During manic phases, he explained, individuals often feel unusually confident, unusually perceptive, and unusually energized, even when they are disconnected from everyday reality. In contrast, depressive episodes can leave them feeling hollow, discouraged, and deeply overwhelmed. These swings, he said, are not just mood changes. They are part of a neurological and emotional pattern that can dominate a person's experience of the world and themselves. West's description of his own episode underscores how insidious the illness can be, how a person can feel both invincible and devastated within a short span of time, and how stability can seem unattainable when caught between these extremes. In that context, the role of a supportive partner, family member, or friend can be literally life-changing. Censori's awareness and persistence, West now admits, were crucial in helping him break through the denial and reach out for help when his own judgment was compromised. Reflection, regret, and a path forward. West's public apology and explanation did more than recount a period of struggle. They offered a window into his emotional and psychological reckoning with the consequences of his actions. He expressed regret for the harm his behavior caused, not just to himself and his own relationships, but to entire communities that felt hurt, betrayed, or misrepresented by his statements and actions. His apology specifically addressed both the Black community, which he said had stood by him through his highs and lows, and the Jewish community, which had been deeply offended by statements he now said he regretted and did not believe reflected his true values.